Hey, how's it going, everyone? Justin again, as always. Thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the 5 things that you can do to reduce vehicle comebacks to the shop, because nobody likes a vehicle coming back, especially after a repair. So let's talk about the 5 things that you can do, or things to be thinking about, to reduce vehicle comebacks. Cheers to those of you that have your beers. I hope you're enjoying your work week so far. Let's get into it. Number 1, service information. It's always a good idea to check service information prior to getting involved or getting in depth into a repair. Why? There's a few things that you can check. You can check if there's any known TSBs or technical service bulletins. That might help aid you in your diagnostic path or noise and vibration and harshness troubleshooting. So you might check to see if there's been a similar repair or a similar issue looking through TSBs. Another one is recalls. There's lots of recalls out there with a lot of similar symptoms that the vehicle might be exhibiting prior to diagnosing. It might actually give you a troubleshooting chart or a diagnostic path or flow chart to go through to try to minimize the amount of time it takes you to figure out what the problem is. Also, it'll give you recommended fluid amount, torque specs, service procedures, recommended service intervals, which is big when it comes to upsells, because first of all, you have to know if the customer is a frequent customer and how often they get their vehicle serviced, and do they only get it serviced at your shop. But if they pretty much stay at your shop for the most part, you're going to want to know what kind of service has been done to the vehicle in the past. Then you can look up the service interval chart and figure out when other services might be due. Maybe like a tune-up, or something as simple as checking the cabin air filter, which should be done pretty much every service, but some technicians overlook it. But it'll actually give you a chart that'll list all the different things that you should check: transmission fluid, rear diff, front diff, transfer case, transmission fluid, recommended fluid and filter service. All those good things are going to be in service information. Okay, the second thing that you can do is verify the repair. How do you verify the repair? There's retesting, so you can always go back and retest or re-examine the area that you were in when you were doing the repair. Road test. Road test is huge. That's going to tell you a lot of different things, so make sure to road test after the repair. What you're doing is you're making sure that there's no additional weird sounds, or that you took care of the sound that was present before the repair, and making sure that it's no longer present after the repair, so that's important. Also, if you've done a trans service, you might want to make sure that you have you retest by pulling the dipstick, verifying the fluid level, taking it for a road test, and then come back, put it back on the lift, bring it back up in the air for a re-inspection, just to make sure that everything's happy and there's no leaks. If there's no leaks, then more than likely the repair is good to go. But you always want to make sure, if you can, if it's possible, depending on your shop and workflow, that you have a second road test, and done by somebody else. Have somebody else go through and road test the vehicle for a second time and have their opinion about it, and make sure that they think it feels okay and that there was nothing weird that you missed or you didn't hear or what have you, Checking the AC, all that stuff. It's always good to have a second drive. Multi-point inspection is going to tell you a lot, and it's also going to help you when you do a repair. So if you don't do a multi-point inspection, you just go through with the repair, and then you take it for a road test and everything seems like it was when they came in for the repair initially, only you were just doing a regular service to it, and then you park it. Some customers do have a tendency to over embellish or exaggerate the truth. Like, hey, I came in here for transmission service, and now my vehicle's going, it's making a weird clickety-clack sound, and that's because you guys worked on my car last. No, that's because you had another problem, and it was the technician's fault for not addressing it in a multi-point inspection. So it's always a good idea to do a good multi-point inspection and to road test the vehicle prior to repair. Listen, look, feel, make sure everything works to the best of its ability. Annotate any deficiencies with that vehicle, put it all down in paper, put it in workflow, put it in your digital inspection chart, submit it to the service writer or the service manager or whatever, and have them take a look at it, so that way everything is annotated, so you're not liable for any other things that are occurring with the vehicle because you've already made notes about it. So when you get done doing your service or the repair that you're doing, and the vehicle is exhibiting other signs of other leaks that were already present, you already have notes about it. But if you don't take the time to do the multi-point inspection and make notes about it, they be like, hey, I came in here because I had a fluid leaking on my driveway, and you said it was most likely the trans pan, and I still have fluid leaking in my driveway, and then of course you pull the vehicle back in, put it in the air, and it turns out that the oil pan was also leaking, and now you make a note of it a little too late, so now they think it's your fault because you didn't tell them everything that was wrong with their car before you sold the work. Multi-point inspection is important. Another thing too is if you're not too entirely sure, so this is the fourth thing now, the fourth thing that you can do to minimize comebacks is clean the suspected area and retest by taking it for a road test. So if you're not sure, you see a leak, you're like, could be this, could be that, could be a mixture of both, clean it down, take it for another road test, bring it back, put it back in the air, check it out. The fifth thing that you can do is get a second opinion. So second opinion is going to be great to have, especially if you're not too entirely sure. You've cleaned the area, you've looked at TSBs, you've done the repair, whatever, you know, and you're just still not too entirely sure where this one leak is coming from, this one noise is coming from. Get a second opinion. There might be multiple leaks, you know, north, south, so it could be leaking from the top down. It could just be leaking from south, it could be leaking from east, west. There's all different types of areas that something could be leaking in, and it could all run down to the base of the car, making it look like it's something that's leaking that's really not leaking and it's something else. So it's always good to get a second opinion if you're not too entirely sure. Even after you wash it down and re-road test, if everything's completely saturated again, you're definitely going to want another opinion. Also, some tools that might help you out with that would be chassis ears. That's kind of a two-person deal. You have one person with the chassis ears on, they got the dealio right in front of them, and they're selecting A, B, C, D, E, F with all the little chassis ear clips plugged on. You're listening for a noise, for a suspected area. It's a two-person deal. Also dye and UV. So maybe you are somewhat colorblind or you don't have the best vision when it comes to UV, and you need a second set of eyes. So you bring somebody else over and have them take a look and be like, hey, look, I think it's leaking from here, but it's not too clear to me, or I'm not really sure what it is that I'm looking at. Have somebody else come over and take a look. Pressure testing. You might have somebody underneath the car, and you might be up top applying pressure to the radiator to see if anything's leaking and if they can see anything dripping. So if you can't see from up top, but you gotta look at it from underneath and pressure's fading fast, you might want to be the guy pumping and have somebody else underneath. So having a second opinion and a second set of hands during the repair process is going to be extremely beneficial to you. And if you can't already tell, road testing is like the #1 thing of this whole entire video. So almost every single thing that you're doing, whether it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all these things that I'm telling you that you can do to minimize comebacks is all going to involve a road test or another road test or a secondary road test by another person during this whole entire process. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Road testing is very crucial to minimizing comebacks. Multi-point inspection is crucial to minimizing comebacks. Looking up service information for either torque specs, fluid recommendations, service intervals, things like that, because some customers actually do get mad if you don't tell them that, hey, you have this service coming up or your timing belt's getting ready to be due. Just letting you know so you have some time to plan ahead. Customers like hearing that kind of stuff. Some don't. Some do not like hearing that stuff. Some do. Some are like, hey, thanks for giving me the heads up. So I've got like 20,000 miles to come up with enough money to pay for the timing belt. Great, how much is that going to cost? And then you let them know and it gives them time to save. So all these things that I've found over the years have made it to where I've had less and less comebacks over the years. It's very rare that I see one anymore, and I'm happy about that. I take great pride in the fact that I'm getting that much more proficient at what it is that I'm doing. And I had to learn, like you guys, at some point in time, I had to learn all these different little steps that I'm sharing with you in this video. So I hope this helped. If it did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If it didn't, give it a thumbs down. Share if you want to share. Save the Tatas. Got this t-shirt from Matco today. I thought it was pretty cool. It's the pink ribbon for breast cancer awareness, and it's got a twisted wrench. Thought that was cool as heck. So save the Tatas. Support breast cancer awareness. We'll see you guys next time. Deuces.